not the coding itself. It's the way create, I think, a business around it and serve people and give them a better service.
Viki, Slavin, how are you?
I'm great.
Good to see you. So where are you calling from right now?
From Tel Aviv, I'm based in Israel, but we are working from home, so probably you find me in my living room.
I love it. I love it. So I think that working from home, the true answer is I'm everywhere because now there is no sense in a specific point in time. Vicky, I can't wait to hear your story. Right before we started this, we were chatting a little bit about both the idea of mentorship, but also the idea of the responsibilities of being an entrepreneur for a good impact, following this idea of bootstrapping a company. And I'd love to spend these 20 minutes touching on these three subjects because I think they're fascinating. And I'd love to start with the middle one about what it means to be an entrepreneur to you and the privilege of being an entrepreneur in terms of the responsibility that we can undertake onto ourselves.
Okay, it's a good question. I think it's always take ownership. Okay, no matter if you are the expert of a subject or a topic, you must take ownership because it's yours. And if stuff cracks if something goes wrong, you need to step in and you can stay, okay, it's not mine.
Right.
So I think it's the main characteristic of a good entrepreneur. And a second, not to miss a good opportunity if you see one. But you must say no for almost everything else.
So that's counterintuitive because when you think of entrepreneurship, a lot of the times you think of yes, a yes person, right? Yes and. But you're saying that most of the time your responsibility is to say no.
Yes, because you need to stay focused and you need to invest yourself. It's not 100%, it's really 200% because you must take yourself out of the box. You must be more creative than you expected. You must encounter in many difficulties and many stuff that will tell you, no, don't do it. Why do you need it?
Right.
And you must continue.
So you're an entrepreneur yourself, a multiple time entrepreneur. You're also deep into the technology scene and helping companies with create better technology through your most recent now global consulting firm that helps them write software that scales. Talk to me a little bit about what this business does, and then I'd love to go back all the way to the journey of how you started it, how you bootstrapped it, and move from there.
No problem at all. What we do at ProdOps, and if you pronounce it correct, it's production and operations.
Okay.
How you can combine both of them. We help clients to build and deploy solutions to automate their cloud infrastructure and improve the whole workflow of how you deliver code. It's great that you have code, right? But until it won't live in real world and people won't be able to use it, it's worth nothing. It's a backlog.
Okay, so how do you actually go in and help these companies? Because sometimes companies that have like a dozen engineers, they have a lot of different systems, they have a lot of internal conventions, and it sounds a little complicated for an external group to come in and help them understand what they have and deploy it.
We start from a process, what do you want to achieve? Okay, now, and what is the business, let's call it impact that you would like to create? You want to deliver a feature that will create the wow moment? Okay, let's focus on your user. Okay, and once you focus on your user, we explain the flow back. What do you have in your functionality of your systems today that it's good enough and you can improve it? And then let's find ways to improve it. If it by a faster delivery, is it by creating better feedback loops? Okay, to create feedback, you monitor stuff and you can fix better. Is it by scale to other regions or countries? And it's by use cloud better and have the opportunity to scale your systems and provide your service in different countries in the same time. So we look on the business outcomes that our customers need. We see what are the bottlenecks that they have in the process, and we can only after we achieved it, we think that we can consult on what do you want, what practices do you want to about lean development. Is it good for you? Agile development? Okay, we are not agile mentors, but we understand what does it mean. Okay,
So
what does it mean for an R&D team?
So you're
And
not
then
just on the deployment, right? What you're talking about here is the whole pipeline of a company that comes in and says we have software that is helping us create a service for people, and you can actually interject in any part of the pipeline, right? Not just the deployment to the cloud or to the user.
Exactly. We don't have any let's call it added advantage in what you develop, but how you bring it to your customers, how you deploy it to your customers. What is the process to do it in a better way?
So why do you need ProdOps? Why does the world, or why do teams around the world need an external company to come in and help them achieve that goal? Because it sounds like today you have DevOps internally, you have different Scrum Masters internally. Why would I want an external firm to come in and help me?
Okay, because you find yourself dealing with a lot of backlog around you, you can always probably say, okay, I have a lot of work. How do I start? How can I create a different? Because I need to do the maintenance, I need to do the work, okay? I can't step back and look at it from another angle, and I need someone external that will help me to do it.
Okay.
It's first. Second, to overcome technical challenges, it takes a lot of time. Okay, it's not that you can call yourself, okay, you are a Java developer. Great, so you will know new stuff that happens with Java, for example. But it's not Java. You have in cloud native landscape a lot of tools, and each one of them can, let's call it, take you a step forward. What tool do you need to use now? How can you use a tool that won't add complexity more than it needs?
So what it sounds to me is that you're not. What it sounds to me is that the firm doesn't go in and you're not completing Jira tasks, right, for the team. You're not actually going in and necessarily helping them code the product, but you're helping them understand at a higher level how do the different products within the company serve the customer. How do you make sure that the teams work efficiently, and how do you take a step back and understand what are the priorities that the startup or that the enterprise needs to accomplish in order to maximize on their value for their customer?
Exactly. And from time to time, we also step into the hands-on work itself. And if we need to help our clients to scale up his technical capabilities in the delivery pipeline, in the cloud infrastructure systems, we do it as well.
Okay, and so how many people are part of this group ProdOps?
We have 20 people, almost 20 people in Israel, London, and Miami, spread in 3 countries.
Why Miami?
Why Miami? Yes, it's a good question. One of our, okay. If you want good relationship with the wife or your employee, she need to have a career. And one of our senior directors wanted to move to the US, and his wife is a doctor, and she accepted to a Miami Beach hospital.
Okay.
So it's not a bad reason. It's not such a good, decision, but we live with it, so it's okay.
I love it. Well, in COVID times, anybody can work anywhere, and I guess the only issue is the time difference. But I guess as an entrepreneur, you're already very adapted to working across time zones and being awake at all sorts of weird hours. Now, I'd love for you to take me back to your journey. And before we started this, you mentioned this idea of bootstrapping and saying no. And saying no specifically to institutional funding, because here in Palo Alto, all that I'm hearing all day is, when are you going to raise your next round, and how quickly can you raise the round, and how much money can you raise? And it sounds to me like you have a story that doesn't go along with that narrative specifically, right?
It's only when you need the money for the growth, okay, and you can't do it by yourself. What I think we proved to ourselves that we managed to create value from almost the first day, okay, of our work. And we managed, I think, to do bootstrap for, let's call it, for initiatives that we decided to do. But we take small risks. There is a price to it. Okay, we take small risk. We probably won't be able to take bigger risks, but it's good enough for us for now.
So how do you manage that balance as an entrepreneur between taking the money, being able to go do high risk things versus bootstrapping, maintaining ownership and control of the company and in the decision making process, but not being able to take those big risks?
I will take them when I will, I think, will know that it's not eventually, that it's really the green light for me that I will be able to scale because I have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Not because the business need it, not a good enough reason. Okay? Because I will, let's call it, have more clients and I will need more people to serve them. Great, it's also not a good reason, because if I can serve them and I can get money, why do I need external money?
Right,
Okay,
but what is the
if
downside of an institutional investment and saying, okay, now I want to grow my team at ProdOps from 20 people to 200 people, and instead of serving a few clients, I want to serve hundreds of clients, because it sounds to me like you're convinced that you've reached product market fit and you're providing value to these companies and you're learning a lot from the process. Then why not take that leap?
because I think that our, let's call it mid management team is not ready for it right now. And
Okay.
once he'll be ready, I think I'll do it.
So what you're saying here is that there's this dilemma for an entrepreneur where you also need to take account, are we ready to be able to manage a company at a greater scale than what we have? Are we ready both in terms of our product but also in terms of our management?
Yes, internally, of course.
And then what's your role?
I can hire. Okay,
yeah.
Of course I can go and hire, but it's not the way we believe we can do a great, let's call it, scale for ourselves.
So then
we need to create it.
So, one of the things that institutional investors help with is keeping the entrepreneur accountable and keeping a reality check constantly, because they're not, necessarily emotionally invested into the idea, but they're looking at the product and the value that it provides. So how do you then, as an entrepreneur and the CEO, how do you keep that reality check for yourself without the help of the VC?
I have a good advisory board and I have a good mentor. I think it's always a good tip for anyone. You need to have an external mentor. And you need to be able to look at his eyes and say, please give me the truth all the time and check me. So
I'd love to transition this to the other part that we talked about before, which is mentorship and relationships as you go along this entrepreneurial journey as one of the key milestones or cornerstones of an entrepreneur. So talk to me a little bit about the importance of relationship and mentorship in your eyes.
I think a good mentor should always ask you the question, is it still your goal? And if it's your goal, let's make sure that every decision that you make meets your goal. Okay, I think it's one of the main characters of a good mentor. Okay, second, if in his eyes you're not in the best position for your company and you're not doing the good job, he needs to tell you. Mm-hmm. You need to move. Think about it. Consider to make a transition. Consider how would you like to grow from this now, from this point. It's the way I look at a good mentor, and those are the questions that I keep asking my mentor all the time on every meeting that I think we have about the strategic topics that we would like to discuss.
Right, but we obviously can't take for granted this idea of finding a good mentor. So how do you go about even finding that right person to help you on your journey? Because it's wonderful to have that person, but it sounds pretty difficult to find somebody who's committed to helping you as an entrepreneur and giving you that real honest and direct advice, because that takes time and effort.
It takes time and effort, and you need to try to gain a trust with the person. Okay, gain a trust, I think it's the main difficulty, and believe that he has added value for you. I met one of my great mentors, in a different word, let's call it, from theory of constraints word, if you're familiar with the practice.
I'm not. What is that?
Okay, Professor Eliyahu Goldratt wrote a book, The Goal. Maybe you're familiar with the name The Goal.
I'm not familiar. No.
Wow. Okay,
I
so
have
you
homework
have
after this.
No, but yes. Theory of constraints, it's a management practice. Company like Apple and Amazon work by this practice, and it's why they're such great companies, because they find, let's call it the weakness in the whole chain of a process, okay? And they improve only the one bottleneck that is the weakest, let's call it, they don't create, let's call it in this way. They find the bottleneck. Once they find the bottleneck, they fix it. And then they ask you, okay, is my process improved or not?
Right.
And it's the person that I want in my life. So it's because he always keep looking for the weakest things that I have in my business.
Right.
And when he point on it, I work very hard to improve it.
So just to make sure that I understand, this whole concept is that you're looking at your whole supply chain, whether it's your life, your business, or a product, and you're saying, out of the 100 things that I'm doing, maybe 20 of them are bad, but what is the worst one that is really stopping my company right now from growing? The weakest link, let's capitalize on that, solve that, and then re-measure what is our new landscape. What is our, like now 100 of different elements, now maybe 19 of them are just bad, but what is the next weakest link, and slowly take those out of the equation, right?
Yes, it's a logical process, and you need to deep dive into it, and you need to ask yourself 5 whys and not 1 or 2, and make sure that it's exactly what you do and not fixing symptoms.
Right. Why are you so excited about the work that you're doing? Why ProdOps? Why helping teams with software? Before we were talking about impact and the responsibility of an entrepreneur for a better world. So why specifically the industry that you're in, where you're helping companies bring their idea to impact and fruition? Obviously, you could have gone to a lot of different other paths. Why did you choose this one?
I think because we help much more ideas see the real world. Really, it's what does it mean go to production. We know from our previous experience, 80% from your software goes to garbage, right?
Right.
Because each one sees the daylight even, and we help our customers really to deliver their code to production.
Right.
It's what makes I think exciting. It's not the coding itself. It's the way create, I think, a business around it and serve people and give them a better service.
I love it. Okay, Viki, now the hardest question, which I did not give you enough time to prepare for. I need 3 words that you would use to describe yourself, or any of your clients would use to describe yourself. Who is Viki Slavin?
Okay, someone trustful.
Okay. Why trustful?
I think, yes, people can trust me, and I think I earned it. For 20 years that I'm in a business and different businesses that I did. I think second, I have high intuition. Okay, and I make decisions by it. I think, and then third thing that you didn't give me time to think about it, I take ownership. On things.
And that's how we started the conversation, and that's how we're ending it. That's inspiring for me to hear. I completely agree. I mean, then taking ownership and responsibility, I think, is the number one key. No matter, it's not just entrepreneurship, it's anything that you do. I think it's also the essence of being a trusted person, right? Having other people know that you take ownership over your actions and over your words. I think that's really inspiring. Viki, one piece of advice that you would give to a rising entrepreneur that is just on their path as they go along their journey now?
I think it's create positive environment where people work, learn or spend their time, create good environment for people. Because if not, what are the worse?
Right.
So I think they need to create a good culture in every company that they start and establish. And the way they grow, supposed to be create good environment for your people.
Right.
Not good conditions, okay? Not good, I think, opportunities or good money, just good environment.
I love it. Viki, thank you very, very much. תודה רבה, and best of luck with ProdOps.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.